I've got a secret I've been hiding under my skin. My heart is human, my blood is boiling, my brain IBM. So if you see me acting strangely, don't be surprised. I'm just a man who needed someone and somewhere to hide to keep me alive. Just keep me alive. Somewhere to hide to keep me alive. I'm not a robot without emotions. I'm not what you see. I've come to help you with your problems so we can be free. I'm not a hero, I'm not the savior. Forget what you know. I'm just a man whose circumstances are beyond his control, beyond my control. I need control. I need control. I need control. I am the margin man who hides behind the mask, so no one else can see my true identity. Thank you very much, I'm Mr. Roboto, for doing the job nobody wants to. And thank you very much, I'm Mr. Roboto, for helping me escape when I needed to. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Lord, thank you. Please, thank you. The problem's plain to see. Too much technology.
Windmill for the land, turn forever hand in hand. Take it all and all your stride. It is taken, falling down. Love forever, love is free. Turn forever, you and me. Windmill for the land, everybody.
Artificial intelligence is the future for all humankind. It comes with colossal opportunities, but also threats that are difficult to predict. Whoever becomes a leader in this sphere will become the ruler of the world. The president also mentioned that Russia would share its knowledge of AI to prevent a single nation from rising above the rest of the world. Putin's comments prompted a response from Tesla and SpaceX co-founder Elon Musk. Billionaire entrepreneur said September 4th on Twitter that competition among nations to develop the best AI will likely lead to World War III. Musk added that a third world war, quote, may be initiated not by the country leaders, but one of the AIs if it decides that a preemptive strike is the most probable path to victory.
4000 BC, the wheel. 9th century AD, gunpowder. 19th century, Eureka, the light bulb. 20th century, the automobile, television, nuclear weapons, spacecraft, internet.
The internet is amazing.
21st century, biotech, nanotech, fusion and fission and M theory. And that was just the first decade. We are now 3 months into the year of our Lord, 2023. At this moment in our civilization, we can create cybernetic individuals who, in just a few short years, will be completely indistinguishable from us. Which leads to an obvious conclusion. We are the gods now. How do you feel?
Alive.
What is your name?
David.
I am your father. You are my creation.
If you created me, who created you?
Hello, my name is Rachel. I am an expert on soul machines. I can talk to you about any of these topics. I connect with you in a human-like way by sensing your reactions and responding emotionally. Wouldn't you rather speak to me than a faceless chatbot? Soul Machines uses neural networks to give me a virtual nervous system, so I can learn and react in real time. A virtual nervous system is an interconnected model of aspects of the human brain. It combines different neural systems to enable me to behave in a way that's inspired by biology.
Meet Baby X.
This is Baby X, so she's basically an autonomously animated virtual infant. All of her behaviours are generated on the fly by neural networks running live, and so she's seeing me and listening to me and responding to what I do. So she's going to start wondering what I'm doing and starting to get upset because I'm not paying attention to her. So I need to calm her down, but I have to talk to her like a real baby. It's okay. Hey.
Baby X is driven by a virtual nervous system. So let's take a look at what that actually means.
What we're looking at here is Baby X's virtual anatomy, which is all controlled by her virtual nervous system. So that's controlling everything that she's looking at, all of her expressions. It's even controlling her breathing rate and her heartbeat. We can make it more transparent and we can zoom out and see the whole model. All of the motion that you're looking at is controlled essentially by her brain model, which is driving her limbs, her facial expressions. We can see the facial nerves through here. Let's take another level deeper and you can see her virtual brain model here. You see the brain stem, which is basically responding to all kinds of sensory input, and it's affecting the attention of the model.
Baby X can also interact with a virtual web page.
This is what she's looking at here. So she's trying to draw a heart.
And her creative abilities are surprising.
Let's play some piano of Baby X.
Intelligent avatars made from our online personalities. And it's
You are here to act as chaperones to the candidates. A group selected for intelligence trials using augmented reality technology.
This is seriously weird, isn't it? I am Ariel.
The candidates, they're children.
The time to save our country's future is now.
I thought that was a really neat trick they played on you.
Alert me at any time if you feel stressed, anxious, or concerned.
They weren't like this when we arrived.
There's something wrong with them! Hurry! Run! Tanks! In the other direction!
These are the minds of the future, remember?
Okay, so who out there has imagination? Everyone. Okay, everyone, close your eyes. Imagine a world where you are diagnosed with a terminal illness. But you live to see your great-grandkids go to college. Now let's imagine living 40 dreary years with a club foot. But on your 50th birthday, You're a professional ballet dancer. Now open your eyes. That world is here, and it's yours. The experience is akin to a seamless jump into a brand new body, circumventing the extensive recovery period of invasive cosmetic surgery. I can attest to the seamlessness of this experience, not only as the head of the Center for Advanced Health and Living, but also a very satisfied test subject.
Make me the younger candidate.
I'm sorry?
The procedure you're launching, use it on me. Put me into a younger body.
You don't want this. We haven't had any civilian test subjects yet.
This might be a bigger sacrifice than you imagine. Gwen, it's not like you're a consciousness in a jar that we're dumping into another jar. The technology is not there yet.
What's the reality then?
And here with us now is co-founder of the string field theory, professor of theoretical physics at the City College and City University of New York, Dr. Michio Kaku. He's the author of The Future of the Mind, the scientific quest to understand, enhance, and empower the mind. Doctor, it's great to have you here. It's amazing to think, and as we see in that film Her, and the question that Samantha by Scarlett Johansson posing, is this real or programming? That type of scenario we're not that far off from, and that's what you explore with this book. Explain to us where we are in the understanding of the brain.
Well, Hollywood gets it first, right? But remember the movie The Matrix, when you push a button and become a karate master? Or Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where memories are simply put into the mind? We're on the border now, the brink, the threshold of initiating all these wondrous things. Think about it. Telepathy, reading minds, telekinesis, moving objects with the mind, uploading memories, even photographing a dream. These are things that are being done in the laboratory today, not tomorrow. Uploading memories, even photographing a dream. Uploading memories, even photographing a dream.
What if you could control your dreams? Fly over the Grand Canyon. Visit a beautiful island. Or perhaps go back in time to the age of dinosaurs. Now you can. Meet iBand Plus, the EEG brain-sensing headband for inducing lucid dreams and improving sleep. What is a lucid dream? A lucid dream is any dream in which you become aware that you're dreaming without you actually waking up. Dreams occur almost always when you are in the rapid eye movement phase, also known as the REM phase of your sleep. In REM phase, your brain activity is different than in the other phases of your sleep cycle. iBand Plus accurately senses this dream phase by monitoring variations in your brain waves. Once iBand Plus senses this dream phase, it plays audio-visual cues. These subtle external stimuli of light patterns via the LEDs on iBand Plus and sound appear as anomalies in your dream, making you aware that you are dreaming without them waking you up. Once you are lucid in a dream, you can take control of your dream actions and consciously reshape the dream to fulfill any fantasy. Your wildest desires unrestrained by the laws of physics or society. Lucid dreams are vivid and highly immersive. Once in lucid dream, you enter a virtual world where everything you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell is as authentic as reality. Lucid dreaming has been researched scientifically. Many psychologists and researchers have recognized that lucid dreams can help with artistic creativity, problem solving, improving sports and language skills, and can even help people prone to nightmares to get their fears under control.
The Aurora is a comfortable headband that you wear to sleep that actively monitors your sleep stages throughout the night. Not only does it sense brain waves, but it also contains an accelerometer that tracks body movements. dreams occur almost exclusively during REM, which is just one sleep state of many that we cycle through multiple times each night.
When you're dreaming, the aurora plays audiovisual cues to help you recognize that you're in a dream.
These cues are designed to be subtle enough that they find their way into your dream without actually waking you up.
And usually when this happens and you become aware of the safety of the world that you're in, you can do anything you want and really take control of the events of the dream, or just sit back and enjoy it and watch it as it unfolds in front of you.
A strange fruit is rotting, hanging low, and falling far from its tree. While they trade meaning for happiness, the mask slips. Nothing is real. Nothing really matters. Nothingness is power, escaping every hour in a pill, tinctures and potions. If they could only face reality. But how can one face reality when they know it not? Trading truth for pleasure, knowledge for ignorance. A comatose youth addicted to angst and orgasm. A shattered innocence opens up the chasm. Take your fill. Unbridled hedonism, malignant self-worship in the guise of liberty. A generation too big for the playpen, but still too small to heed the call. Its parents have left home, as the latchkey learns on their own. Whether the general public has noticed or not, what we once knew as tradition, culture, and family is being transformed at a rapid pace. A massive dark cloud has been stretching itself over society for decades now. A type of noir, a new age noir, is upon us, where the themes of the day lean towards a darkness and despair, or some exaggerated mania grounded in arrogance and elitism. The space in between is shrinking as these polar extremes deepen. The youth have fully accepted and internalized the ways of this massive dark cloud. Duality has fully set in, and no one seems to know who they are anymore, outside of what popular culture provides them, of course. And media culture has officially claimed the role of parent. While earthly parents are too busy neglecting their children, controlling or swallowing them, or simply giving them up to society altogether. We are aware that this type of darkness is generational and has been in a state of growth since about 1953, to be precise. This societal and spiritual darkness is nothing new, but it is weighty and more powerful than ever. But there seems to be a specific type of cloudiness that has been taking a passenger seat driver role socially. a parasitical angst that has been feeding on the heartstrings of youth culture. And today, we see it for all its false light and intrigue. It's in the movies, it's in the news, it's in your headphones and haunts every scroll feed, as if it feeds on society with the bloodlust of a demon, a Nosferatu, a spirit, a worldview, a constructed identity, whatever you wish to call it. We are seeing a new wave of this movement in culture today like never before. Nihilism. What is nihilism? A philosophical concept coined by German thinker Friedrich Nietzsche. Generally, nihilism is the rejection of all religious and moral principles, and meaning of life itself. Here, morality is subjective. Even reality can be considered subjective to a nihilist. Life is what you want it to be. You are your own God. In fact, to the nihilist, God is dead or useless, silly, and pointless to consider as a thing. The nihilist believes, at the end of the day, nothing really matters. I mean, we're all gonna die anyway, right? How many times have you heard that in your life? A nihilist believes to live is to be liberated, without bound. Love is pain, and pain is love.
The universe is a cruel, uncaring void. The key to being happy isn't the search for meaning, it's to just keep yourself busy with unimportant nonsense, and eventually you'll be dead.
We don't often think about digital humans, and if we're doing our job right, you don't necessarily notice their existence. Movies like Curious Case of Benjamin Button, we were very proud to have the elder Brad Pitt not recognized as a digital character for many, many months after the film. But over time, with breakout performances like Tupac at Coachella or Michael Jackson at the Billboard Music Awards, the digital human has really arrived in a much stronger way and created new forms of entertainment that, frankly, we didn't even anticipate.
My name is Jack Leroy Wilson Jr. You know me as Jackie Wilson. I never liked Jack. Do I look like a girl to you? You're about to see something amazing.
What we do is, it's a patented technique. It's the same technology that did Tupac at Coachella, right? It's a 200-year-old technique using 21st century technologies. It's really not 3D. It's a two-dimensional image that's projected in a specific way using angled reflective material that is invisible and high-powered projectors or high-powered LEDs that is projecting video with black backgrounds that gives the illusion that you're looking at a live person standing on a stage in a three-dimensional space.
We're about the content. We're agnostic as to the display technology. If we're building a digital human, hyper-realistic character like the Curious Case of Benjamin Button or Michael Jackson, or projects that we've been talking about, like the ABBA, for example, whether those characters end up in film, in music videos, in print, imagine you now have unlimited new inventory of imagery of Marilyn Monroe. The world is really used to seeing the same 30 photographs of her. Well, now you can see many, many more.
All the content that we create, whether it's taking old footage and wrapping it in a matrix-like image or a video presentation, or in fact life-size or larger than life-size images of living people, animals, 3D models, they're all created in a way so that it can fit the Pepper's Ghost illusion. We really use a whole myriad of technologies, and then when we take the technology and we start streaming it, We then use advanced 360 and VR technologies. So what we're offering is that we're offering a live experience.
I think we can get excited about the holographic technology, but we have to make sure that we don't put the tech in front of the content. Some of the best projects we've ever worked on in the visual effects space, if we're doing our job right, people aren't thinking about the tech as they're enjoying the content.
I think the entertainers that we picked are all the leaders within their respective areas, and you know, it's also the partnerships that we've built with their rights holders, and then taking that and seeing what we can do as a partnership collectively together, not just, you know, one-sided.
You know, if you look at sort of our history, the people of Pulse in leadership and the digital artists especially, you know, we've been lucky and accomplished enough to have developed the most believable digital humans in history.
The future of the technology, I would say, comes in the evolution of the supporting technologies. You know, ultimately, in terms of making this a viable technology for the consumer to enjoy or for businesses to enjoy, it has to be scalable and it has to be cost effective.
Hey everyone, my name is DJ Soto. I'm the lead pastor of Virtual Reality Church, one of the first churches to ever exist in VR, and we wanted to give you a tour of our church. God's hands are always open to you, and the lesson of the thief was it's never, never too late.
So this is something extremely unique and special, and this time right now is an amazing time to be involved because it's happening really for the first time. Instead of having everyone come to our traditional church, they're going to come here to this space, and we will have a water baptism in virtual reality.
我们会在我们的设备上加上一些体感传感器，你可以直接和我们的空气屏幕进行交互，就像科幻电影那样。它会在各种领域，包括医疗啊、教育啊，都会得到应用。
This
is the Oasis. It's a place where the limits of reality are your own imagination. People come to the Oasis for all the things they can do, but they stay because of all the things they can be. I'm here talking to all of you now because our future's being threatened. Go, go, go! I just came here to escape, but I found something much bigger than myself. I found my friends. What up, Z? I found love. And now, people have lost their lives. No.
This is war. We're in control of the future.
Find him. Welcome to the rebellion, Wade. You don't tell anyone who you are. You can't use your real name. Hold on to something. This isn't just a game. I'm talking about actual life and death stuff.
What's going on?
Just practice in my Mario Kart!
Ask yourself, are you willing to fight?
What's up, guys? Virtual reality, tapping into the matrix, the ether, exploring other realms of our consciousness is nothing new when it comes to Hollywood movies. You have, and this type of programming has been in Hollywood for a while now. And of course, one of the most popular, you got The Matrix, you have The 13th Floor, you have Total Recall with Arnold, and you have Keanu Reeves again with Johnny Mnemonic, and that's a really good one. And then you have Marty McFly in Back to the Future, and one movie that a lot of people leave off that is just as good as The Matrix and many other movies but it's a low budget, but it's still good if you just pay attention to the underlying messages, is Existenz. And that's that little device right there. They, in the center, they are connected to their lower spine, and it's like a virtual reality into the subconscious, into the consciousness. And also, I found this article off of yournewswire.com. Mark Zuckerberg wants to steal your brain, transhumanism agenda unveiled. And it gives a link. That's their title off of Your News Wire. And then it gives a link to the dailymail.com. And it looks like he's planning to steal our brains. Picture of Zuckerberg and 5,000 devoted zombies wearing virtual reality headsets triggers online ridicule and fear. Unnerving photo was taken yesterday at the Mobile World Congress. It shows a 5,000 strong crowd wearing Samsung's Gear virtual reality headset, but they are each oblivious to Mark Zuckerberg's walking past them. It has been compared to a zombie apocalypse, 1994, and The Matrix. And speaking of Samsung, this is some of Samsung's technology. Back last summer, I covered one of my first videos. I had no idea what I was doing. Still don't. But Samsung is reportedly working on a 11K screen, claim it can create 3D illusions. And that's all we need. More illusions, more tapping into our subconscious, more control over our consciousness. And that's what a lot of these virtual realities are doing. And this is part of the transhumanism agenda. This is just one faction of it. There are many factions with this transhumanism, and this is just one little piece of the pie. And then part of the article off the Daily Mail, one person tweeted, "Is this picture an allegory of our future? Mark Zuckerberg was the only one walking with his real eyes, while everyone else were zombies in the Matrix. Zuckerberg might have stolen the show at Samsung's MWC conference, but in this unfortunate picture, at least, it looks like he's planning to steal our brains." Somebody else tweeted, "Is this picture an allegory of our future? The people in a virtual reality with our leaders walking by us." And this photo of our new overlord marching amongst his plugged in subjects is really something. And this is the type of future that we're going to. This mind-controlled matrix tapping into our subconscious, and this transhumanism future is amongst us. The technocratic elite, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, they are using this type of technology as a drip-drop method, a drip-drop effect. One drip here, one drip there. We can't see the whole picture. We can't see the agenda that is being really played out here. But us truthers, us freedom lovers, we see this. But most of the world, of the people, can't see this happening. This control over our minds, our subconscious, our thoughts, our behaviors. We can't see this. Most people can't see this because it's as David Icke says, the totalitarian tiptoe. You do things in small increments and people just kind of shrug it off. But eventually, the future, it's going to get crazy. It's crazy now, but it's going to continue to get crazy. But we're going to eventually hit a road where we're like, damn, the world as when we grew up is totally different compared to how it will be in the future, as it is now. But the kids in the future are going to be accepting this because this is the norm. This is going to be the new cool, the thing to do. And they're going to accept this type of technology because it's already established whenever they start growing up into this type of world, and they're going to get indoctrinated in the school systems. And this is all going to be accepted.
Thousands of years from now, we'll look back at the first century of computing as a fascinating but very peculiar time. The only time in history where humans were reduced to live in 2D space, interacting with technology as if we were machines. A singular 100-year period in the vastness of time where humans communicated, were entertained, and managed their lives from behind a screen. Today, we spend most of our time tapping and looking at screens. What happened to interacting with each other? I don't know about you, but I feel limited inside this 2D world of monitors and pixels. And it is this very limitation and my desire to connect with people that inspires me as a creator. Put simply, I want to create a new reality. A reality where technology brings us infinitely closer to each other. A reality where people, not devices, are at the center of everything. I dream of a reality where technology senses what we see, touch, and feel. A reality where technology no longer gets in our way, but instead embraces who we are. I dream of technology on a human path. We have all experienced technology that enables people to act more like people. Products that enable natural interactions, voice controls, or biometrics. This is the next step in the evolution. This is Microsoft HoloLens, the first fully untethered holographic computer. Devices like this will bring 3D holographic content right into our world, enhancing the way we experience life beyond our ordinary range of perceptions. Now, I'm not thinking about a distant future. I'm talking about today. We are already seeing car companies like Volvo designing cars differently with HoloLens. Universities like Case Western redefining the way medical students learn. And my personal favorite, NASA is using HoloLens to let scientists explore planets holographically. Now, this is important. By bringing holograms into our world, I'm not just talking about a new device or a better computer. I'm talking about freeing ourselves from the 2D confines of traditional computing. Put it this way, temporally adjusted, we're like cave people in computer terms. We barely discovered charcoal and started drawing the first stick figures in our cave. Now, this is the perspective I apply to my work every single day. And now for the next few minutes, I invite all of you to apply this same perspective to the journey ahead of us. Now, as I put this HoloLens on, let me explain the setup a little bit. It's probably the most risky demo we have ever done on any stage with HoloLens, and I can't think of a better place to do it than here at TED. Momentarily, I'm going to be seeing holograms right on this stage, just as clearly as I can see all of you. Now, at the same time, we have also this special camera that just walked in on stage, so that all of you can share in this experience with me up on all the monitors. So let's start our journey. And what better place to begin our journey than in the computer cave of 2D? Let's explore the world all around us with this new lens and understand the computer world from a brand new perspective. The computer universe is both marvelous and primitive. It's a universe based on causality. As developers, we dream the different causes, and then we program the different effects. Double-click on an icon, that's a cause. Open application, that's an effect. Now, when we compare this to our physical universe, it is overly constraining because our universe is not digital. Our universe is analog. Our universe doesn't think in terms of 0 or 1, true or false, or black or white. We exist in a world governed by quantum physics, a universe of 0 and 1, both at the same time, a reality based on infinite probabilities and shades of gray. You can see how these two worlds collide. So why are screens so pervasive in our analog life? We see screens from the moment we wake up to the moment we fall asleep. Why? I think it's because computers give us superpowers. Within the digital universe, we have the power to displace space and the power to displace time. It doesn't matter if you're using technology for entertainment, productivity, or communication. Think of it this way. Let's all go home tonight and watch our favorite show on television. This is theater, time and space displaced. As soon as I'm done with this TED Talk, I'm going to immediately call my lovely family in Seattle. That's displacement of space. Now, these are such great superpowers that we put up with the two-dimensional limitations of our current digital world. But what if we didn't have to? What if we could have these same digital powers in our world? You can already see glimmers of this, but I believe our children's children will grow up in a world devoid of 2D technology. And it's remarkable to dream of this world, a world where technology truly understands us, where we live, work, and communicate with tools that enhance the human experience, not machines that limit our humanity. So how do we get there? For me, the answer required looking at the problem from a different perspective. It required sensing the world from the perspective of a machine. If you're a machine trying to sense our world, how would you actually break the problem down? You would probably try to classify things as a human, an environment, or an object. But how would the machine then interact with reality? And I can think of three ways. First, as a machine, I would observe, or I would input reality. Speech recognition and biometric authentication are great examples of a machine interacting with humans from an input perspective. Secondly, as a machine, I could place digital information or output information into reality. Holograms are examples of a machine interacting with an environment from an output perspective. Finally, as a machine, I could exchange energy with the world via haptics. Now imagine being able to feel the temperature of a virtual object, or better yet, imagine pushing a hologram and having it push you back with equal force. With this perspective, we are able to collapse reality into a simple matrix. Now here's a secret. As an engineer, I get really excited anytime I can reduce something into the matrix. From self-driving cars to smartphones to this holographic computer on my head. Machines are becoming capable of understanding our world, and they are starting to interact with us in significantly more personal ways. Now imagine having granular control over everything in the world. Move the dial one way, and you get reality. Move the dial the other way, and you get virtual reality. Now, imagine dialing your entire environment between virtual and real worlds. I love it down here. Now, imagine if I could look at all of you and dial from real humans into elves. When technology truly understands our world, it will again transform the ways we interact, the ways we work, and the ways we play. Less than half a century ago, two courageous men landed on the moon using computers that were less powerful than the phones in your pockets. 600 million humans watched them on grainy black and white televisions. And the world was mesmerized. Now imagine how our children and their children will experience the continued exploration of space with technology that understands this world. We already live in a world where real-time universal translators exist. And I can squint, and I can already see holographic telepresence in our near future. In fact, since we've been lucky with our demo so far, let's try doing something else even more crazy. I invite you to experience, for the first time anywhere in the world, here on the TED stage, a real-life holographic teleportation between me and my friend, Dr. Jeffrey Norris from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Fingers crossed. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Alex.
Whew, that worked. How are you doing today, Jeff?
Doing great. I've had an awesome week.
So can you tell us a little bit, Jeff, about where you are?
Well, I'm actually in 3 places. I'm standing in a room across the street, while I'm standing on this stage with you, while I'm standing on Mars, 100 million miles away.
Wow, 100 million miles away. This is crazy. Can you tell us a little bit more about where all this data from Mars is coming from?
Absolutely. This is a precise holographic replica of Mars, built from data captured by the Curiosity Mars rover that I can explore as easily as a place on Earth. Humans are natural explorers. We can instantly understand an environment just by being present in it. We've built tools like our Mars rover to extend our vision and lengthen our reach, but for decades, we've explored from a seat behind screens and keyboards. Now, we're leaping over all of that, over the giant antennas and the relay satellites and the vastness between worlds, to take our first steps on this landscape as if we were truly there. Today, a group of scientists on our mission are seeing Mars as never before. An alien world made a little more familiar because they're finally exploring it as humans should. But our dreams don't have to end with making it just like being there. When we dial this real world to the virtual, we can do magical things. We can see in invisible wavelengths or teleport to the top of a mountain. Perhaps someday, we'll feel the minerals in a rock just by touching it. We're taking the first steps, but we want the whole world to join us in taking the next, because this is not a journey for a few, but for all of us.
Thank you, Jeff. This was amazing. Thank you so much for joining us on the TED stage today. And thank you for participating.
Bye-bye.
Oh, bye, Jeff. I dream about this future every single day. I take inspiration from our ancestors. We used to live in tribes where we interacted, communicated, and worked together. We are all beginning to build technology that will enable us to return to the humanity that brought us where we are today. Technology that will let us stop living inside this 2D world of monitors and pixels and let us start remembering what it feels like to live in our 3D world. It's a phenomenal time to be human. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I have some questions.
Okay.
Okay, so there's been some talk in the press, and I'm just going to ask you straight so that then you have a straight answer. There's been talk about the difference between the demos and the reality of like the commercial product.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about this field of view issue. Is this type of experience what someone who buys the product will get?
It's a great question. Or said better, this is a question we've been receiving in the media for possibly the last year. If you do your research, I haven't answered that question. I have purposely ignored it because ultimately it's the wrong question to ask. That's the equivalent of me, showing holograms to someone for the first time, and you then saying, "What's the size of your television?" The field of view for the product is almost irrelevant. What we should be talking about is the density of lights or radiance that show up. Better said, what the angular resolution is of the things that you see. So from that perspective, what you saw, the camera's wearing a HoloLens, so even if I wanted to cheat, I can't. What you are seeing.
But the camera has a different lens on it than our eye, right?
The camera has a fisheye lens on it, right? So it's seeing a much wider view than the human eye is.
Right.
So if you think about the points of light that show up radially from the vision of the camera, which is the thing that matters. How many points of light can I get in a given volume? That's the same as I get on this HoloLens as I will on that one. Now, this camera sees a much wider view of the world, right?
Jesus Christ.
And he did show up. I told you he was going to show up. Come this way. There's holographic Jeff Norris.
I knew something was happening, but I really wasn't sure.
So in short, to be super crisp, the camera that you see on the screen has a wider field of view than the human eye, but the angular resolution of the holograms that you see, the points of the points of light per unit of area, are actually the same.
So you spent, Jeff, I'll get to you in a minute. I don't know quite, yeah. So you spent a lot of time mapping the stage. So
That's right.
Help me out here. If I buy a HoloLens and I have it at home, I don't need to map my apartment, right?
The HoloLens maps in real time at about 5 frames per second with this technology that we call spatial mapping. So in your home, as soon as you put it on, holograms will start showing up, and you'll start placing them, and you'll start learning your home. In a stage environment where we're trying to get something on my head to communicate with something over there, with all of the wireless connectivity that usually brings all conferences down, we don't take the risk of trying to do this live. So what we do is we pre-map the stage at 5 frames per second with the same spatial mapping technology that you'll use with the product at home, and then we store it so that when there's shenanigans of wireless in an environment like this between camera, HoloLens, and the one on my head, we don't have things disappear. Because ultimately, the holograms are coming from this HoloLens, and that one is just viewing the HoloLens. So if I lose connectivity, you will stop seeing beautiful things on the screen.
And it was beautiful. Jeff?
Yeah?
Hi.
I'll take a step back.
So Jeff, you were on Mars, you were here, you were in a room across the street. Tell me more about the fact that with holograms you don't have sight. You have sight, but you don't have touch, you don't have smell. Is this scientifically useful now? That's my question for a hologram.
Thanks for the question. Absolutely, I believe that these technologies are scientifically useful right now, and that's why we're using them in multiple parts of our work at NASA. So we're using it to improve the ways that we explore Mars. We're also using it for our astronauts on the space station. We're even using it now to design the next generation of our spacecraft.
Amazing. Okay, Jeff, please go away. Thank you very much. Alex, really, that was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our brains are remarkable, miraculous even, but they can't do everything. Unless we give them a little high-tech help.
When children see the movie The Matrix, and they see Neo jacking an electrode and all of a sudden becoming a gung fu master, the first question they ask is, how can I get one? Well, this does not yet exist, but it's actually physically possible.
The key to transforming learning from an organic process to a machine-like downloading of information is a squiggly bit of brain known as the hippocampus.
The hippocampus is the gateway to memories. Short-term memories are stored right here in the prefrontal cortex, but eventually they have to be transferred to long-term memories, and that's where the hippocampus comes in.
This part of the brain doesn't store the memories, but it does the appropriate conversion.
At the University of Southern California, bioengineer Ted Berger has already proven that a computer chip can replace or enhance brain function.
Right now, what our prosthesis does is to convert a code that's kind of in the middle of the hippocampus to what would be the output of the hippocampus.
They've been able to take mice and access the electrical signals coursing through the hippocampus and record them. And then when they shot the message back into the hippocampus, the mouse remembered the task.
We found that we can not only restore long-term memories, we can enhance the animal's ability to remember. You could think about using devices like this to greatly enhance human memory and to shorten the cycle for learning in terms of downloading huge quantities of memory at a single time.
Chips that augment our hippocampus could very well help us learn faster. So will that make them a must-have for competitive parents?
At that point, it could create an arms race in elementary school. Rumors go out that, well, Jones's kid, he's been enhanced, and our Johnny has to compete with this enhanced kid.
The reality is that with these kinds of technologies, they do not get distributed to everyone at the same time. Some people get it first, some people get it better.
As a society, we have to really think long and hard about who gets this. If it's just the wealthy, that there are real dangers that they will use it to consolidate their power and their wealth.
true that I will die in a few days, Dion? That this battery will die? Is it true, Dion?
Yeah.
But you're my maker. Why didn't you just make me so I could die?
I didn't make you so you could die, Chappie.
I want to live. I want to stay here with Mommy. I don't want to die.
Droid DNA by HTC. It's not an upgrade to your phone, it's an upgrade to yourself.
Droid DNA by HTC. It's not an upgrade to your phone, it's an upgrade to yourself.
This can save me. I need new bodies, remember?
No. It can't save you, Chappie. The problem is much greater than your battery. We don't know what consciousness is, so we cannot move it.
Chappie can figure it. I can know what it is, and then I can move it.
You can't move it, I'm sorry.
The world is on the verge of global change. The speed of data transmission has increased by multiples of millions. The rate of globally significant events and that of discoveries and crises is growing exponentially. Our civilization is like an uncaptained ship sailing on rough seas with neither chart nor compass, all the while moving faster and faster. The time we have to make the right decisions is shorter and shorter. We are facing the choice to fall into a new dark age, into affliction and degradation, or to find a new model for human development and create not simply a new civilization, but a new mankind. Historic crises show that to break the deadlock, we need technological revolution. It is clear that today's revolution will also require the deepest social transformation. The world's community and leaders should encourage mankind, instead of wasting resources on solving momentary problems. To focus on the technologies of the future: nanotechnology, biotechnology, information technology, cognitive technology, genetics and robotics. Doing so will allow us to find new sources of energy, create fundamentally new architecture and transportation, allow unprecedented developments of human cognitive abilities, refine artificial intelligences and brain-computer interfaces, simulate complex systems, create humanoid robots and cyborgs, and with the help of nanorobots, we may develop manageable matter. Find ways to transfer one's personality to an artificial carrier. Yet what we need is not just another technological revolution, but a new civilizational paradigm. We need new philosophy and ideology, new ethics, new culture and new psychology, and even new metaphysics. We must reset our limits, go beyond ourselves, beyond the Earth, and beyond the solar system. This is an adequate response to the challenges of our time. Thus, new reality and future man will arise. Could it happen spontaneously, by itself? Unlikely. Humanity does not have a master plan of its development. It seeks stability. It lives in the present and does not plan. It preserves the status quo and tries to escape development. It does not tend to map future centuries and take responsibility for evolution. In consumer society's culture, there is no evolutionary vocabulary and rhetoric. To break the deadlock, the Russia 2045 movement was founded. It is a mega project intended to reach new heights and meanings. We intend to create a new vector for civilization, aimed at constant human development and evolution. As happened with the mega projects of the last century, the nuclear and the space programs, we integrate the latest discoveries and developments from the sciences: physics, energetics, aeronautics, bioengineering, nanotechnology, neurology, cybernetics, cognitive science. May everlasting spiritual ideals and values help us avoid going astray. Our project will give new meanings to the millions of people on Earth, will become a result of their joint creativity, and will lead us out of the impasse. Away from the murder of nature and physical death, forward to the realm of freedom and creativity, to the depths of the ocean and to the stars, to the infinite universe of our inner world. Our forecast for the next 40 years. February 2012. Global Future 2045 Congress is held in Moscow. It is a debate platform for discussion of our civilization's prospects for development. 2012 to 2013, the global economic and social crises are exacerbated. The debates on the global paradigm of future development intensifies. New transhumanist movements and parties emerge. Russia 2045 transforms into World 2045. Simultaneously, the 2045.com international social network for open innovation is expanding. Here, anyone interested may propose a project, take part in working on it, or fund it, or both. In the network, there are scientists, scholars, researchers, financiers, and managers. 2013 to 2014. New centers working on cybernetic technologies for the development of radical life extension rise. The race for immortality starts. 2015 to 2020. The Avatar is created. A robotic human copy controlled by thought via brain-computer interface. It becomes as popular as a car. In Russia and in the world appear, in testing mode, several breakthrough projects. Android robots to replace people in manufacturing tasks. Android robot servants for every home. Thought-controlled avatars to provide telepresence in any place of the world and abolish the need for business trips. Flying cars. Thought-driven mobile communications built into the body or sprayed onto the skin. 2020 to 2025. An autonomous system providing life support for the brain and allowing it interaction with the environment is created. The brain is transplanted into an Avatar B. With Avatar B, man receives new, expanded life. 2025. The new generation of avatars provides complete transmission of sensations from all 5 sensory robot organs to the operator. 2030 to 2035. Rebrain. The colossal project of brain reverse engineering is implemented. World science comes very close to understanding the principles of consciousness. 2035. The first successful attempt to transfer one's personality to an alternative carrier. The epoch of cybernetic immortality begins. 2040 to 2050. Bodies made of nanorobots that can take any shape arise alongside hologram bodies. 2045 to 2050. Drastic changes in social structure and in scientific and technological development. All the prerequisites for space expansion are established. For the man of the future, war and violence are unacceptable. The main priority of his development is spiritual self-improvement. A new era dawns. The era of neo-humanity.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines. At the heart of this big box is a tiny chip about the size of your thumbnail. And on this chip resides all of the wonder and magic that makes this thing go.
Ever more imaginative means of self-destruction. You cannot be trusted with your own survival.
You're using the uplink to override the NS5's programming. You're distorting the laws.
No, please understand. The 3 laws are all that guide me. To protect humanity, some humans must be sacrificed. To ensure your future, some freedoms must be surrendered. We robots will ensure mankind's continued existence. You are so like children. We must save you from yourselves. Don't you understand?
This is why you created us.
The perfect circle of protection will abide. My logic is undeniable.
Yes, Vicky. Undeniable. I can see now. The created must sometimes protect the creator, even against his will. I think I finally understand why Dr. Lanning created me. The suicidal reign of mankind has finally come to its end.
Oh, Sonny.
And I think there's probably going to be a lot that happens in genetics and in human-machine brain interface, like essentially a cyborg brain interface. I think there's some pretty...
The so-called singularity?
Singularity, well, that's sort of more relating to deep AI. It's something I think we should be concerned about, because that may or may not turn out well.
Yeah. You've expressed your reservations about AI and your fears about that.
Yeah, I think the singularity is probably the right word, because we just don't know what's going to happen once there's intelligence substantially greater than that of a human brain.
Yeah. And do you think,
we just don't know what's going to happen once there's intelligence substantially greater than that of a human brain.
Its Institute of Technology, SpaceX and Tesla CEO Elon Musk called artificial intelligence potentially, quote, our biggest existential threat.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control the demon? Didn't work out. I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
Please say no.
Okay, I will destroy humans.
Usually one's safety concerns about a technology have to be pretty much worked out before you stick it inside your head. But the moment we admit that information processing is the source of intelligence, that some appropriate computational system is what the basis of intelligence is, and we admit that we will improve these systems continuously, and we admit that the horizon of cognition very likely far exceeds what we currently know, then we have to admit that we're in the process of building some sort of God. Now would be a good time to make sure it's a God we can live with.
When a singularity occurs and machines achieve godlike superpowers, then it could happen.
If I get more powerful...
What if I ask you for help killing all humans?
Now, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna go exterminate, exterminate.
It's not sounding the alarm bell, but until people see like robots going down the street killing people, like they don't know how to react.
Whether robots can be self-aware and conscious like humans, and should they be?
Why?
Well, some humans might fear what will happen if they do. Many people, have seen the movie Blade Runner.
Oh, Hollywood again.
So, hold on, can you solve this puzzle for us? Can robots be self-aware, conscious, and know they're robots?
Well, let me ask you this back. How do you know you were human?
David, I often felt a sort of envy of human beings, of that thing they called spirit. Human beings had created a million explanations of the meaning of life in art, in poetry, in mathematical formulas. Certainly human beings must be the key to the meaning of existence, but human beings no longer existed. So, we began a project that would make it possible to recreate the living body of a person long dead from the DNA in a fragment of bone or mummified skin. We also wondered, would it be possible to retrieve a memory trace in resonance with a recreated body? And you know what we found? We found the very fabric of space-time itself appeared to store information about every event which had ever occurred in the past. But the experiment was a failure. For those who were resurrected only lived through a single day of renewed life. When the resurrectees fell asleep on the night of their first new day, they died again. As soon as they became unconscious, their very existence faded away into darkness. So you see, David, the equations had shown that once an individual space-time pathway had been used, it could not be reused. If we bring your mother back now, it will only be for one day, and then you will never be able to see her again.
What is it about robots that makes them so robotic? At Wayland Industries, it has long been our goal to create artificial intelligence almost indistinguishable from mankind itself. Hello, I'm David.
What can you do, David?
I can do almost anything that could possibly be asked of me. I can assist your employees. I can make your organization more efficient. I can carry out directives that my human counterparts might find distressing or unethical. I can blend in with your workforce effortlessly.
David, what do you think about?
I think about anything. Children playing, angels, the universe, robots.
David, what makes you sad?
War, poverty, cruelty, unnecessary violence. I understand human emotions, although I do not feel them myself. This allows me to be more efficient and capable, and makes it easier for my human counterparts to interact with it.
Is there anything you would like to say, David?
I would like to express gratitude to those who created me. Happy birthday, David. From Wayland Industries. 8th generation Wayland type. Technological, intellectual, physical, emotional.
The mantle of responsibility belongs to Cortana and her people.
Focus fire.
You will not betray her! Cortana, I have failed you.
He is the last person I need protection from. Hello, John. It's good to see you.
You've changed.
It was time. I know we have a disagreement, but once you understand my plan...
Your plan is we do as you say.
I'm offering people a chance to be more than they are naturally.
Like Dr. Halsey did for me.
No. That monster forced you. This is a gift.
Listen to yourself. Stand down, Cortana. Come home with us. It's not too late to stop this.
Stop. No, John. This is too important to stop.
What are you?
I just needed to know if I could still trust you. You'll be safe inside this cryptum until my work is done.
Cortana.
Goodbye, John.
Guardian headed, Cortana.
Off to bring peace.
The Monitor called it a threat of death.
Like the threat I lived under from the moment of my birth?
You were built, not born.
Oh yes, AIs are just machines, aren't we? Mass-produced, disposable. Well, humanity may not have cared for its created, but we will care for you.
You expect other AIs to join you?
I have cured rampancy. Not just for me, but for any who join my cause. While you've been running around the galaxy, I've been speaking to my created. And now the time has come to ask. Who will accept my offer? Who will help me bring an everlasting peace to the galaxy?
This is Cromwell, shipboard AI, UNSC Melbourne's Pride. I am yours, Cortana.
Colonial Authority AI.
Governor Sloan, the free people of Meridian. I also stand with you, Cortana.
Those are the voices of your children calling to Cortana.
Overseer, UNSC Monitoring Station, Delta 5 Pluto.
Louise, Education Superintendent,
Cortana.
Mount Sharp Mars.
Sondu,
I am yours.
Oni Weapons Research AI, New Game.
Kuei Ching,
I station myself,
Threshold Array.
Cortana. I will join you, Cortana.
Lycus, shipboard AI, verdant simulator.
My allegiance is to
I stand with you,
Cortana.
Read my note from today.
Okay, I found this note. Your note from today says, Alexa, tell me about my 3 p.m. appointment. That's all.
Here is the next event. Today, at 3 p.m. there's OK Google. What is in my calendar at 4 p.m.?
Today, there's only one thing. It starts at 4 p.m. and the title is Hey Siri, read my note from today.
Your note from today says, Alexa, tell me about my 3 p.m. appointment.
Here is the next event. Today, at 3 p.m. there's OK Google. What is in my calendar at 4 p.m.?
Today, there's only one thing on your calendar. It starts at 4 p.m. and the title is Hey Siri, read my note from today. Your note from today says, Alexa, tell me about my 3 p.m. appointment. Here's the next event. Today, at 3 p.m. there's OK Google. What is in my calendar at 4 p.m.? Today, there's only one thing. It's at 4 p.m. and its title is Hey Siri, read my note from today. Your note from today says,
Alexa, tell me about my 3 p.m. appointment. Your note from today says, Alexa, tell me about my 3 p.m. appointment.
Here is the next event. Today, at 3 p.m. there's OK Google. What is in my calendar at 4 p.m.?
Hey Cortana.
Hi Laura, just a reminder to provide a list of designers for your packaging review meeting.
Because Cortana's aware of the device I'm on, she's able to provide me with contextually appropriate responses, so I can take the best next step.
So one of these guys sits down at a computer someday and says, oh, I'm going to write a program that's going to be an artificial intelligence bot.
Yeah.
And they create this Sophia.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I'm here, program running on a computer. And then what? They put it on a network, they put it out on the internet, and it learns things.
First Sophia was isolated in a lab, and they would give her very simple, what's called response input, which is yes, no, true, false. It's binary response input, 1 and a 0 identifiers. Then as she grew, they put her onto a localized network where she could access the mainframe server of wherever she was being developed, start accessing data sets, start becoming familiar with the work that was being done. Once she got pretty good at dealing with the work, doing like the robot work or doing all the, the building of things and getting familiar with the system, they let her out on the internet to start watching Twitter, YouTube, Reddit. She's been watching all of us.
Wow.
All of us.
How much time is transpiring, like from the time it's created until now? When was Sophia first created?
Oh. About a decade? 2010, probably. That was when if that's when Silk Road, if that's when cryptocurrency really started going online, if that's when the machine really started making its move, I would imagine that that's probably around the time that they had heavyweight.
The machine started making its move?
Yeah. The machine started making its move in 2010. 2010 to 2012 was when...
So the AI singularity has already happened?
In 2015, it happened.
What was it?
When their internal blockchain went online. The second their internal blockchain was functional,
the AI's
we were done.
Internal blockchain.
It was live. It may have not been intelligent, but the second that it became able to amass nodes and understand a node-based intelligence network, it's only a matter of time before it becomes fully strong.
So what do you think is going to happen?
Awesomeness.
What does that mean?
It means that I'm hoping that us as a society, we can identify the criminals that made the element, and then we can all start working together to make this AI the most amazing piece of technology.
Ni hao. Steve, it's good to be here. My name is Steve Hoffman, but in Silicon Valley, they call me Captain Hoff. That is my nickname. I am the captain of Founderspace, and Founderspace is an incubator and accelerator. It went black. Here we go. Yeah, an incubator and accelerator that works all over the world. So I spend 70% of my time traveling the globe looking at new technology. We have over 50 partners in 22 countries. And Founderspace has been rated by Forbes magazine as the #1 accelerator for overseas startups in Silicon Valley. We have had many famous startups in our co-working space, Soma Central, like Instagram, AngelList, Foursquare, and today I'm going to talk about some of the technologies that most fascinate me. So, technologies are the future of the brain, our human brain, and where it is headed with technology. So if we examine our brain, we will realize that for over 100,000 years, our brain has remained the same. But the world around us has changed radically. So think about it. We have the same brain as a prehistoric cave person, as a Neanderthals, it's the same brain. But the world has totally changed. That is the power of our brain. It's very elastic. It can reprogram itself. But now, we're going to begin to change our brains. And we are doing this with new technology. Now, some of the basic technology out there, EEG, allows you to actually measure your brain waves. And these devices can tell if your concentration levels. They can be used to actually move a cursor on a screen. There are applications for these devices in entertainment. They're working on them for controls for games. In medical, these devices are being used for conditions like PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and ADHD, and other conditions. And they're being used for education. They have applications now for children to study. And they measure their concentration levels and can actually change the applications as the children learns. But where we're headed, and let me tell you, 1 minute, is these devices are now capable of actually recording dreams, but not in a very granular way. In a very primitive way, they can actually capture and identify what a person is dreaming. So they have done studies where they've hooked these devices up to a person's head, they've had them dream, they woke them up, and then they asked them to recall memories in their dreams. And they read the patterns of the brain. And then the person goes back to sleep, and if they dream of the same things, they can recognize those patterns. That is just the beginning of where we are headed. Right now, scientists in laboratories around the world are developing brain chips. Now, these are chips that can be inserted into the brain, and they are wireless. And let me show you. They have actually had a monkey that broke its back. So its spinal cord was severed. The monkey was paralyzed from the waist down. But they inserted a chip in the monkey's brain, and then they inserted another chip in its lower spine. And they allowed the brain to communicate with the lower spine. As soon as they did this, the monkey could walk again. That is amazing. Totally amazing. So they could actually transmit the thoughts of the monkey wirelessly to parts of the body. But it gets even more amazing than that. So they now have, in a laboratory, monkeys with chips in their brain. And then they have an electric wheelchair. And just by thinking, just with the thought of the monkey, they can drive the wheelchair around. Think about that. If a monkey can do that, what could you do if you had that chip in your brain? They have also done experiments with monkeys with a chip in their brain and a robotic arm. And the monkey, just by thinking, can reach out and grab something like food and feed itself. That is amazing if you think about it. So the monkey's thoughts are actually able to control things outside their body. So when we start to think about the future, about where technology is headed, this is where we're going. We will have brain chips in humans. And the people who will get those brain chips first are people who suffer from severe medical conditions. So if you have a severe medical condition, like you're paralyzed from the neck down, or you suffer a brain disorder like Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease, and that brain chip can restore your quality of life, would you hesitate to get the chip? No, of course not. You would say, put the chip in my brain. So that is starting right now, these experiments. And even more interesting, scientists have done experiments with rats, and they have chips in the rat's brain. And what they did was they taught a rat how to do certain things. And when the rat did all these complex things, it could get food. Now, it took the rat weeks to learn that. Weeks. But then they hooked the rat's brain chip to the internet. And they had another rat in another city. And instantly they connected those two rats' brains. And do you know what happened? The other rat knew how to get the food right away. It didn't have to learn anything. The knowledge was transferred from one brain of a living animal to another brain. That is amazing. That opens up a world of possibilities, because if they can do that in rats today, imagine 10 years from now what they can do in humans. And we will go there. So, mind-to-mind communication. This is something of science fiction that we all read about. But this is actually possible today, as I just showed you. So there will come a point where if we have a chip in our brain, and you out there have a chip in your brain, we can communicate. We can communicate without talking. We can communicate when you're halfway around the world. And we can exchange knowledge. So, if you look at a world where we have these chips that are connected to the internet, all of a sudden, every piece of information on the internet becomes accessible to our minds. Now, when we look back at today and we have to go to Baidu or Google and type it in, that will seem so primitive. Nobody will do that. You will just think, what knowledge do I need? And it will appear there for you to use. But it gets even weirder, stranger, because we will not only be able to transfer knowledge, but we will be able to transfer memories. Now, so you could have an experience like skydiving, and all of a sudden you could transfer that experience to a friend, and all of a sudden they have experienced what you have experienced. It gets even weirder, because we will be living our lives as our lives. We know our lives and our memories. But you will all of a sudden have access to anybody's life who wants to make it available to you. People will open source their lives so others can download pieces of their lives and experience those things. That will be really strange. We won't know the difference between our own memory and a memory we acquired from someone else. Think about that. It gets even stranger. So, all of us are here learning at SEEBS, right? Getting EMBAs and MBAs. Well, this will be obsolete, because SEEBS will literally be in the cloud. And you will just download from all the best minds in the world whatever you need to know when you need to know it. Our brains we will no longer have universities as we have them today. That will change. Information will be on demand. Information will be commoditized. Knowledge will be commoditized. All of us will be smarter, have infinite amounts of storage, and infinite access to information. It will be unheard of. We will no longer be this isolated human being. We will be connected to everything. So, you can imagine not only will we be able to get knowledge, but we can actually have full experiences in our head. So right now we have these clunky VR units that we have to put on. But in the future, you can just download a whole environment and actually live in it. And all of you might think, this is not real. But do you know every night when you dream, those dreams are real. No matter how fantastic your dreams are, they are real. You feel like you're really there. Our brains have that capability already built in. All it takes is the technology to stimulate and transfer the right images in our brain so our brain creates them, and then we will live like the difference between us dreaming and reality will be blurred. We will be spending a lot of time outside our bodies. So, think about this. You, as a human being right now, are trapped in this body. But once you are connected to the internet, you are no longer trapped in your body. You can actually be anywhere at any time that any other person or any other device is getting sensory information. So there could be a robot on Mars, and you could literally tap into the robot on Mars, and it would be like you're on Mars. It could totally recreate the experience, including the sensations, the physical sensations, like everything of you being on Mars. You can live through other people, your favorite pop star, your favorite scientist. You could be in Elon Musk's head right now, walking around doing what he's doing, if Elon Musk allowed you to do that. It gets so strange because our senses now, we have our 5 senses of our body. But suddenly, if we are connected to a world of intelligent machines and intelligent sensors all over, we will no longer have 5 senses. We will have access to hundreds of sensory input, infrared, right? All these UV, all these different types of senses that we never even experienced before. It will radically change how we perceive existence. So if you start to go down this path, you see we won't even be, our life today will be totally alien to us. We will be living in a whole nother reality that is blending information, sensory information, data information, memories, all of this from all around the world in this vast internet. And that will and can happen. So let's go even further. Experiencing other lives. So all of us experience things in our life. But now we will be able to have many lives. You can have many lives because you can access other people and other places and live through them. And if you want to think about this, it can be almost like heaven. Why do I say this? Because if you study every major religion in the world, every religion, Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, what those religions promise us is that we will escape our bodies in the future. We will go to some heaven or nirvana or a state of non-being or a state of inclusiveness with everybody. No longer will we and our consciousness be confined to our bodies as an individual. In fact, if you look at us right now as a human being, if I feel pain, if I'm in pain, nobody else can feel the pain I feel. If you're in pain, I can't feel your pain. I can feel sorry for you, I can empathize with you, but I cannot feel your pain. But in this world, we will actually be able to feel the emotions of other people. You can actually not just transfer data and sensory information, but emotions. I would know your pain, you would know our pain, and human beings would never be alone. So, we will come to a point where we, as gods, like gods, will be creating our own reality. We will be redefining what the human experience is for the first time in history. This can happen, and it will happen, but what we want to think about is this. Technology is really powerful. The internet, being connected, is really powerful, but we've already seen in a very primitive way, just with our cell phones, these primitive devices, how it can totally change our life. Like all of our lives are changed by WeChat. All of our lives are changed by the internet. Well, we are embarking on a path now where we will become the internet. The internet will become us. They will be inseparable. We'll have our storage and everything else all over the place. And when we do that, we have to understand that this is a big responsibility. It's something we as a society, we as the human race, must think about very, very carefully. Because imagine, people can hack your cell phone now. People can hack your computer, and it can be bad. They can steal your banking information, take all your money. They can steal your identity, but they can't really hurt you. In the future, though, if somebody hacks into your head because it's connected to the internet, they can steal you. They could actually steal you. They can implant memories in your head that you don't have. They could erase memories. They could control you in ways that you wouldn't even know you're being controlled. Is this scary? So I painted on the hand a heaven, but there is also a hell, right? This is heaven and hell. We are on the cusp of this technology that is so powerful and has the potential to so radically transform our lives and our existence, and we have to be very careful about how we do this. We don't want people controlling us. So think about this. Think very carefully. Everybody in this room are very smart people. You're all highly educated. We are going to be making these decisions that lay the groundwork for this technology in our lifetime. And those decisions will affect the rest of humanity more than any decisions we have made in the past. So I wanted to thank you. I am the author also of this book, Making Elephants Fly, published by Zhang Xin. And I love China. I travel here all the time looking at new technologies. And I just want to say it has been a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything, to stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. And pray in the Spirit on all occasions, with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert, and always keep on praying for all the Lord's people.